People don't always understand what the fuck they're doing. They don't understand that if you say something, there are consequences to the words you say, as well as if you make choices in somebody else's life, there are consequences as well. And even if you think you're untouchable because you got money and I got a home to hide in and I'll run away or whatever, it doesn't matter. Karma will get you in this life or the next. And one thing as I'll leave you with, oh God, I'm sick. 25 years of my father trying to kill me and not taking responsibility has taken its toll. God, I remember at the age of 10 feeling like this, more mild. I remember having the seizure in New Mexico and nobody being around. I'm out in the cold by myself. I'm all in my fucking shirt because I'm shaking and shivering. The shivers had just hit. I shake and I go unconscious. I remember going through this through my childhood, my teenage years, my adult years, while living in the woods homeless, while helping the elderly. But here's the problem. Stories stick today that nobody needs proof. My father never provided any proof of anything. Like, for instance, when I was 5 years old, I tried to figure out what the glowy things were on the match. They lit a candle. I saw the matches on the table. I'm 5 years old, so I go, nope, that didn't work. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, so I deserve a spanking. I'm playing with matches. No, no, no. Just like my nephew. He took my lighter without permission, stole from my room, brought it to school, got caught with it, and I asked him, he says he doesn't know why. Now, what's the difference in these two situations? Oh, that's right, my mother was a lunatic, so she fucked with my head, came to the room. She then told me that because the house could have burnt down, I must be burning down the house on purpose. And she's trying to brainwash me into believing this fucked up rhetoric. And because I'm 5 years old and I'm being told jump, when you say jump, you do as I say. You don't fucking get a choice. I'm the boss around here. If I say that you are burning the house down, you're burning the house down. So this rhetoric is being told to everybody, me. It's getting confusing me at 5. My mother decides to give me a full bottle of Epicac. I have an overdose and she's having me sleep it off on the floor and then not letting the doctors treat me. The teachers want to help me. The doctors want to help me, but my mother's cutting them off, lying to them. So this has continued year after year from that. And my father still does it. He'll make up a story. He tried to burn down my house. And people believe it. People will go, oh, well, we're not helping him then if he's burning down your house and if he tried to kill your wife and if he's going around murdering dogs and animals and if he's suicidal and if he makes up fantasies and everything's a red herring. We're not helping him. Let the kid die. That's fucking slander. You kill people over that shit. If somebody told me that shit today, if a guy on the street that I didn't know about said those words to a police officer, I would come back and rip off his fucking testicles and beat him with it. You don't fucking say that shit about other people without some proof to show on pictures. You don't tell me I burnt down your fucking house unless you got a fucking house that's burnt. If you paid for a new house, then you get to say it. But if you just saw a pile of matches, you need a beating. I'm sorry, you don't get to do that to a child. But luckily, I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm going through the church. The church says I should work through with my father. Ask him to help and clean up his mess. Ask him to take responsibility for his actions. And instead of me cleaning up his mess, let him know that I'm willing to help him clean up his wife's mess. But when I try to do this with the church and my father, you know what he does? It's all your fault. You burned down my house. You're a fantasy. You're a red herring. I'm going to tell you doctors that everything's a red herring. Yeah. And how dare you try to tell Social Security that you need help? How dare you try to get help from the doctor and then they contact me? No, I'm cut. No, it's all red herring. You're a fantasy spinner. Yeah, you killed my what? Shit like that. I mean, he's so fucking bad with it. It's always an excuse. And this is how I know that he says stuff like that. Any single time I bring something to my father, he then tries to make up a fucking story. Every single fucking time. Like, for instance, my father is responsible, partly, for the timing of my mother's death. She needed a liver transplant. She died in the ambulance on the way to get it. Now, a month prior to this, she was drinking alcohol in front of my father with 20% of her liver working. Now, I tried to get my father to help her. For years before this, I tried to tell my father she's popping pills. Please get her help. Nope. My mother says, it's only one time. I'll do whatever I want. My father punishes me, blames me for my mother taking pills that weren't prescribed to her. Then she's drinking too much. I bring that up. My mother goes, no, no, and of course they believe that. Then my mother continues acting unstable, and they project it onto me. Then my mother goes into liver failure. My father fucks up Social Security. Everything goes crashing down. My father's making mistakes. I get thrown out of my housing and my Social Security. And that's only because I had backed my father because he was about to blame me for his own shit again. Yep. The state wanted me to sign a paper because they were a witness that my father committed a crime. Also, the housing I was in wasn't being paid properly, and my father lied on the legal forms. So they were a witness, and they had paperwork that my father lied and said that he wasn't collecting any Social Security in my name, and I'm almost 20 years old. Meanwhile, my rent requires, this is a state program that requires any children who are receiving Social Security to hand it over to the program. So all parents have to hand over the check to the child in the program so they can use it to get their child an apartment and get them started. It's very necessary that I learn how to support myself. But my father thought it was more necessary for him to pay his own fucking house. He wants his big fucking house. Yeah, I'm going to use all the money for this big fucking house instead of how it's supposed to be done. So my son will never learn how to be an adult. He'll never get his first apartment. His Social Security be fucked up. All this shit. So he got caught. Now, you might think I signed the paper, I got my money that they said I would get, and my father just blamed me, right? Nope. I knew he would do that. I said, if I sign that paper, there's no way my father knows how to take responsibility for his actions. And because of that, I will never know what my mother is poisoning me with, or what's going on, or what my disability is. I know that the disability my parents are making up is not the one. Everybody knows that. But we also know something is very wrong with me, and I need to know what the fuck it is. I'm 19, and I'm still not allowed to go to the right doctors because I don't have an education. I don't have anything to know what's going on. They cut off my education and tried to keep me from getting any further. And when I got cut off from the 4 years of education, I can go over the list. It's split up in Texas, New Mexico, just everywhere around this country. You would think that it would be important to fill in those blanks, those 4 years. But instead, my mother and father decided that would be too much work. It's easier to call me slow, stupid, retarded, mentally ill, whatever. You know, he just has a learning disability. Meanwhile, if I have a learning disability at age 12, and I don't have a learning disability at age 6, and if I'm doing fine in first grade, second grade, but yet my mother is yelling at teachers to hold me back, and then, I go to Texas and I'm like doing fine in the classes, except for the fact that I have to reestablish everything. So I don't want to redo everything. So I'm being stubborn, but still okay. But in New Mexico, no classes. In Maine, no classes. Don't forget, I redid first grade only because my mother yelled and screamed. She had to have talks with me. Oh, I only did it because I wanted you to be older. And then my father goes, yeah, we only wanted you to be held back so you could be older. We know that you passed, but we just want you to be older and old. And they drilled this into my head. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on. All I knew is I was getting all the classes done. I was coming fifth in my class. There were, in the spelling bee, it was the whole building, so there was about 112 kids, and I came in fifth. In my classroom of, 30, I was always coming in second with any group or any singles. I was always trying to come to the head. Now, I wasn't like first in the class or anything like that, but I was easily up at the top. Now, there was no learning disability. All the other kids my same age at that point, I'm getting just as much work more than them done. These are normal kids without disabilities. I do fine until you cut off 4 years of education and then tell everybody that there's nothing wrong. So my parents did this, and I got to remind you, just like Trump goes, Carmela is a bitch. Carmela is a bitch. No, you know what's really a bitch? Karma's a bitch, you fuckers. Karma's a bitch. Yes, Trump doesn't have it right. It's not Kamala Harris is a bitch. It's karma is a bitch, you assholes. Yes. You can either try to take responsibility and do the right thing, or consequences do come your way for you, your family, your friends. Yes, if I drive a car and I have a neurological disorder and I'm not taking care of it, yes, my family is in danger. I'm in danger. Your family's in danger. My other family's in danger. Why? Because I'm driving with a neurological condition without treatment. That's why. Same thing with my father. If my father continues to lie to doctors, lie to Social Security, try to hide his mistakes, try to hide his wife's mistakes, meanwhile his son bleeds on the ground and can't get medical care. I mean, goddamn, if he just lets me get medical care, there's plenty of fucking proof. He just doesn't want anybody to see it. He's trying to fucking bury the proof. If he wants to see the proof, he can. My father knows that he can walk into a building with me and they'll be happy to prove it to him if he spends the time. But you know what? My father already knows this is real. He's known it's real. He knows I spoke up at the doctors about it. He knows my mother passed away while drinking. He knows my mother was popping a pill and I brought it to his attention. He knows his grandson was scared. He knows I was scared. He knows I was skinny and sick. But you know what? I'm the little orphan kid, so why don't I just go die? Because he's not going to ruin his family name. No, 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 just because he made a mistake. No, no, no. No, we got to kill this kid off before anybody finds out what we did. Yeah, well, let's cut off his medical care and let him suffer some more. No, I'm going to have to fuck these people up if they don't fucking do this shit. I mean, I just want to do this through the church. But 25 years? How many more times do you want me to be fucking nice about it? 25 fucking years of my life, and the rest of it's gone. You took the rest of it. You put my family in danger. You fucking took the rest of my fucking life away from me. And when I go into the doctors for basic stuff, I have to see your fucking bullshit. So you come, call, be nice about it, I'll be nice about it, and we handle your shit like a fucking man does. You walk in. If you want a fucking war, if you think being violent, avoiding your problems, and fucking running away on the beach and pointing fingers at other people, you want to point a finger and say, this is my fault, prove it. Prove to me that at age 7, that overdose is my fault. I want something that says that the stuff I'm talking about, me going to Texas, me going to New Mexico, 4 years of education missing, and the druggings, the constant druggings, I want you to prove to me that's my fault. And seeing as you're slandering my fucking name with this fucking house burning shit, I want to see this house at age 5 that I burnt down. Seeing as I keep on reading that I burnt down a fucking house at age 5, I want to see this slanderous statement proved to me. On top of this, you guys keep on saying I'm on drugs, huh? Well, I know you guys are fucking can't pass a drug test. I know my father, there's no way he's passing a drug test. And the only drugs he talks about are the ones I was prescribed. Not only that, I don't think any doctor is prescribing my father alcohol with benzos. I don't think that that's a prescription, Dad. I don't think mixing drugs together is a good thing to do. And then he points a finger at me while stoned last night. On top of this, then he gets everybody riled up. He tries to get my brother saying, oh, I guess it's your fault, Father says. Then he gets me riled up by trying to fucking play phone games, avoiding this for 25 years. I mean, goddamn. Just tell your wives the truth. I mean, you have a new wife. What do you think Seth's going to say when he sees a dead body and reads my biography, huh? What do you think is going to happen if you don't handle this? Do you think I'm going to sit in woods, go to a shelter and suffer? No. Do you think I'm going to let my property and my family keep on getting hurt by you? No. Do you think I'm going to let myself suffer because of you? No. No, I'm not. So you can handle this or I will handle it for you. Now, everybody says the right thing to do is to have you guys handle it and have me help you. That's it. It was Patricia who did this with Henry Newell. This is a problem created by Henry Newell and Patricia Newell. And Zachary Newell has to die, suffer, be hospitalized. And if you don't believe me, Just look up the hospital records. There's hundreds of them. But the doctors have no clue, heads or tails, of what fucking going on. Hey, we found him unconscious on the side of the street again. No drugs in his system. We found him unconscious. No drugs in his system. Hey, we found him with a seizure, only gabapentin in his system. Hey, we found him and there's a little bit of alcohol in his system. Hey, we found him again, a little alcohol in his system. Hey, we found him all bloodied up, nothing in his system. But why don't I get medical care? Why don't they keep me for further observation? Because my father says there's no fucking need. Yes, my father continues to cut off all my medical care. When I moved to Rochester, New Hampshire, I started to get stuff like a medical bracelet. I was having seizures on the side of the road, and I couldn't get an ambulance. So my insurance covered an ambulance bracelet, so when I have a seizure, it beeps. My father decided to tell my insurance company and my doctors that everything was a fantasy red herring. Then the insurance decided I didn't need an ambulance bracelet then. So now I've had another seizure on the side of the road and nobody there to help me. Great, Dad, great. Now I can't even get an ambulance because of you. What the fuck is wrong with you? Get your shit together already and clean up your wife's mess. I am not going to keep doing your work for you. Fuck that. You never asked me to die for you, work for you, or clean up your wife's mess. You just dumped this shit on me. I know it must not be fun to have Patricia do these things and then leave you holding the bag. I understand. It's not fun to hold the bag when somebody else did something. But guess what? I am dying and getting hurt because somebody else did something. So as much as you don't want to take responsibility because she left you holding the bag, I'm not going to die because you don't know how to be an adult, Dad. All you have to do is be an adult. Follow the priest I sent you. Sent you a priest. Michael Phelps, we wouldn't even have the gold medals for the swimming Olympics if Michael Phelps didn't ask for help and get it. Now, I've been asking for help for 25 fucking years with this. You heard me ask for help in Westford. You heard me ask for help in Texas. And then you decided to send me to New Mexico. You decided to move me to Maine, buy and sell properties. You never, when I fell in a gunquit, if you brought me to the fucking emergency room, they would have a report right now of that fall. Instead, you tell me you forgot. Well, okay, you're allowed to forget as long as you bring your kid to the emergency room. As long as you bring your kid to the emergency room when he has an emergency, you don't have to remember what happened during that emergency because they have a record of it. Now, let me ask you, Dad, during my emergencies, was I brought to the emergency room? Oh, what I can't? Oh, oh. So I'm just left to die. Okay, well, how about the good records? I remember doctors and teachers being very worried about the sudden change. I'm sure they were writing stuff down, but then you took me out of there and moved me to Texas. I don't know if it's on paper, or on a computer. It'd be super hard to track down. Plus, it's not like my father is going to allow me to get the information. It's not like he wants me to get better. My father's done everything in his power to not get me better. I mean, even when it came to me learning the skills to live on my own, my father decided that that wasn't important. Yes, I was in a state program called Highfields in Lawrence. It's for kids 18 to 23. They teach them how to live with their Social Security, make a budget out, reapply for Social Security, get your first apartment, pay your bills, set up electric, all those type of things. Now, I was in a separate class. They told me I didn't need those skills because my father signed the paper that I was not on any Social Security. I was not disabled in any way. But yet, everybody sees that I'm disabled, so they tell me I should apply for Social Security disability. So I do. I call my worker and I say, hey, 7 of these kids are on Social Security and they tell me I'm more disabled than them and I should apply. He goes, yeah, I think you should. He goes, I think you should, my worker says, from the Department of Health and Human Services. So we start filling out the paperwork. We even send in food stamps. We call in my father a little bit later. Then we find out my father illegally filled out the paperwork, illegal, with the program. He also is getting me to commit crimes because he's lying. So now my food stamp paperwork was filled out criminally. Also, I find out all those classes I could have took to help me and that I wasn't allowed to take was all because my father lied to them. I'm also find out I'm getting thrown out of my housing because my Social Security that my father already had that he didn't tell the state about was supposed to be used for the state program's rent, but my father kept the money illegally for himself. Now here's all the... So anyways, my father gets in trouble for all this. what do? I bail him out. I give him love. I say, okay, you stole all this money. They say they got proof for you. They're gonna bring you to court and make you pay me. But I know you can't take responsibility for your actions. I know you're gonna blame this whole thing on me. I know you can't tell the truth about it. I know you don't want to tell the family the truth about it. So I'll tell you what. I'll bail you out. I will not sign the paperwork so they can't bring you to court. I won't sign the paperwork so I don't get the money you stole from me back. I will get thrown out of my housing because you spent my rent. It's that simple. Dad, you spent my rent money. That money had to go to my fucking rent. I was in an apartment for housing of disabled children. And if you're on Social Security, it is the law, it is the rules, it is the guidelines. We signed legal paperwork that said if we were on Social Security, we would hand over $600 a month to the program for me to live there. Now the program finds out my father's been keeping my rent money so he can enrich himself. What was illegal? Also, he was supposed to turn it over to me so I could pay my own bills and stop struggling so much. Also, now there's a big problem with me applying for disability for my own disabilities because now I find out my father already made up disabilities, lied to about disabilities, lied to Social Security, trafficked me to doctor, making up all these unprovable things. Because you got to remember, psychology isn't provable or disprovable. It's just the statements the parents make. That's it. So if they listen to me and my statements, they'll say my father was a lying asshole. But if they listen to my mother's statements, then I'm a lying asshole. That's the thing. It's just whatever you say. It's whoever they believe. And if you're 6 years old and your mother's telling a story about a swimming medal, and you go, I'm crying, stop taking it. And then she calls you a fantasy spinner. And then your father goes, yep, my wife is always right. What do you think they're going to fucking do, Dad? And when your wife wants more drugs, give him more pills, give him more pills. She even tried to convince me of illnesses I don't have, Dad. That's fucked up. She tried to convince me that I was schizophrenic. That's fucked up. Chasing me around the house, wagging her finger, telling me to lie about an illness. That's fucked up. On top of this, she's trying to convince the doctors to get me on Zyprexa. Why? That's so dangerous, Dad. Why? Do you know what would have happened if she succeeded in that one? The same thing that happened with the other ones. I would have 100 more injuries. This is fucked up. You need to handle it. You need to handle it. You need to handle it. You need to be nice. You need to handle it. And you need to do this through your church. You need to fucking find Jesus Christ in your heart and handle your shit. Because I'm willing to fucking find Jesus Christ in my heart. And every time you guys try to do some bullshit, I just say, you got to stop this bullshit, senile bullshit. And I will. If you try to point fingers at me for your own responsibility, if you try to slander me, I will remind you of the 10 Commandments, and I will ask you for fucking proof. And I will do the same thing. If I accuse you of something, I expect us to go for the proof. And that's exactly, but guess what? The proof is your fucking daughter. She admitted it to her. The proof was in front of you. That's the difference. My mother admitted this in front of you. In front of my sister, in front of me, in front of my sister's husband. Yes, I gave him extra Epicac. Yes, I gave him extra drugs. Yes, I think it's okay to give extra medication to a child. This happens constantly. Then I leave the room and she twists the story, lies, manipulates. Just like the liquor. She drinks liquor in the fucking basement, blames on me for 2 weeks as I cry, and then she finally admits to it. She's finally going, okay, it's not him. And then what does she do the minute I'm out of the room? She contracts her statement. He did it. No, I did it. No, he did it. No, I did it. Oh, I threw away his toys because you don't love me enough. You like your toys better than me. And then 5 minutes later, she's saying, "Oh, it's because you didn't clean your room." What the fuck, Dad? That's childish. I'm not gonna fucking die because you guys wanted to be children when you were supposed to be raising me. It's time to handle this. I can be nice about it, or I can follow Jesus and do what I've been doing for the last 25 years. Or I can continue what I'm doing now and come with you with the straight up shit and no fucking lipstick on this pig. No. I'm not trying to clean it up for you, Dad. This is what it is, okay? That is what it is. I have a landlord that doesn't want to maintain his property. That's his problem. I got an 84-year-old that is going senile that can't control his behaviors. That's his problem. Me, I have a neurological disorder, seizures. I have a bunch of illnesses my mother caused. I have some new ones appearing now, and I'm sober. I'm going to stay sober. And the only problem with staying sober is that means I'm going to have more injuries and more seizures and more stuff because I can't treat myself now. So now when I feel this coming on, I just have to fucking be on the side of the road bleeding for you, Dad. You want me bleeding for you all the time? Is that what it is? Do you just want me to take, oh, what do I get if I do this for you? If I die for you, Dad, what do I do for my family? What are you going to give my family, huh? If my kids come back and go, where's my daddy? And I'm in the fucking grave at 36 and there's a or 32 and there's a fucking biography explaining my life from beginning to end. What are you going to do to help my children survive in this world, huh? Oh, what are you going to do? Poison them? Say, oh, well, let me kill you and then you won't feel the pain of this world. What are you going to do? Try to poison my children too? I mean, I know it's not you who did it, Dad. I know it's your wife, Patricia. I was there. I know how it went down. Patricia poisons me. IOD on the floor. She's on the phone trying to avoid responsibility. Then she tells you they don't know what they're talking about and lets me sleep it off. Then I try to mention that my mother is popping my pills. She gets caught red-handed, Dad. She got caught red-handed. Then she goes, well, it's only one time. And then again, bullshit. So if I steal your wife's pills only one time, is that acceptable, Dad? Is that acceptable behavior? Because you said that was acceptable to do one time. I don't believe that. I believe you should never be taking other people's medicine. And I think that's the rule. But you guys fucked up my head telling me it's okay to do it one time. What was that lesson? Why? I still don't understand what you mean by that. My mother took somebody else's prescription that wasn't prescribed to her without checking to a doctor while drinking alcohol and mixing it with her own medications. She does this on a couple occasions. Your son comes to you and says, Mom is popping pills she's not supposed to. You go up there. She admits it to you, and she says it's only one time. And Dad's response is, see, it's only one time, so it's okay. And you shouldn't be looking at your mother at all. So you're punished. Dad, what's the lesson I'm supposed to be learning there? Because I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to be doing back to you for that. So if I take your wife's meds, or if I take meds of my grandson or something like that, how is that okay ever? I don't think it's okay ever. I don't think it's okay for your wife to do. I mean, no mother is allowed to take her son's pills whenever she feels like it. But what is this shit that you're talking about that one time is okay? I don't understand. And is it not important to get rid of all the alcohol in the house if somebody has an alcohol problem and liver failure? And tell me this, Dad. If somebody's going through liver failure, do most people drink? Do most of the population who are sober, non-alcoholics, do they drink while their liver fails? Because you told me you've been telling me that Mom had no problems. So I want to understand why these aren't problems. Why a person drinking with liver failure isn't a problem. Why her popping pills isn't a problem. Why her leaving me on the floor and lying to you isn't problems. I'm sorry Mom lied to you, Dad. I'm sorry you don't like thinking of her in this way. Trust me, I don't like dealing with this. I just want it to go away. I try to run from it just like you. Oh yes, Dad, I try to run from it and use drugs just like you're doing. You're trying to run from it and you're taking pills to sleep. Well, guess what? That doesn't fix shit. I'll tell you that right now. All you're going to do is it put me in danger, put your family in danger, and then put my family, what's your family, in danger. And I'm not going to put up with you hurting any of my family. No, I'm not going to have you putting me in danger, and I'm not going to take any more seizures on the side of the road for you. You come and you handle this shit. So next time I have a seizure and go into the doctors, they know exactly what's going on.